Okay, everybody. So I'm going to start something completely different and kind of do something that I've been wanting to do a while. I'm a little nervous talking about it, to be completely honest, but it's something that's important and really important to me, if I haven't stressed that enough already. Anyway, I'm going to talk about Otherkin and being Otherkin, and specifically just the dragon side of it, because that's what I identify as. I don't identify as anything else, but I have a good knowledge of the other things and basically what it's all about. Now, to be otherkin, it's to identify as, that's very specific, not with, as something that's not human. Otherkin specifically means um, if you identify, for example, with as a mythical creature, so like a griffin, a pegasus, shit like that, and Therian, which gets looped into the Otherkin title, but specifically Therians are people who identify as animals that can be explained with science. So dogs, cats, dinosaurs, jellyfish, I don't know, anything you can find in the wild. So I guess this is just going to be a very brief kind of rundown of how I feel with some things. And I don't want to put myself out there as like the 100% scholar of this. I don't think anyone is, and I don't think a lot of people are, but I've been in this community and have identified myself as this for about 10 years, maybe a little over. It's been a wild ride. And I always kind of had this feeling about who I was and everything beforehand, but it wasn't until about 10 years ago that I actually did some research and found that there were other people like me. So, I guess to start off is one of the things that people have asked me before is like, oh, well, do you run around like squawking or whatever or doing whatever? No. Um, for me, being dragonkin, being otherkin, is a very personal, spiritual thing for me. It's not something that I don't really feel comfortable telling people all willy nilly unless they are that. And, or if they're willing to accept that. I want to be more open with it because it's important to me. And I do kind of wish people know, but at the same time, when you tell people that, you're leaving yourself open for criticism and mocking. And, you know, I understand why. It's kind of, I'm not an idiot. Like, I understand how that could seem to the average Joe. A lot of younger people and a lot of new people to the community don't seem to get that. That when you talk about these things, a lot of people will look at you kind of funny. They will think weirdly of you. It's not something that's normal. You don't go up to say somebody and say, "Hey, I believe I am not a person, but I am this." Also, I want to make that very clear. Something very clear that I do not believe I am physically something other than human. I do believe that as I am right now, living and breathing, that this is a human body that is talking to this mic and then talking to the audience. I am fully aware that I have human organs, I have a human brain, I have human cells and homeostasis and all of that. I know that, I embrace that, I get that. I don't have this delusion that I'm physically something other than I'm not. I spiritually believe that whatever is piloting this meat suit, my soul, my essence, if that's something that you believe, personally something I believe, is not human. Not at all. And that's pretty much the gist of it, but I don't go to great lengths to always show it off. I know if I was in a school situation, that would just make my life hell. And honestly, you don't have to tell people that you are this way. People feel like they should or they want to, and everything's open and free. But I've heard stories where it's gone terribly wrong, and I know if I was back in high school and I started telling people this, it would have went totally sideways on me. It would have been awful. It would have made my already living hell of a life that much more hellish. I'm not somebody who craves attention. I'm not somebody who wants it. The things that I do on YouTube and elsewhere, I see more as art and a way of expressing my humor and other things. I don't do it necessarily just really for attention. I do it just to show off stuff, I guess. If people like it, that's cool. If people hate it, that's cool. They're entitled to it. If you hate me for identifying myself as a dragon, I want you to be sure, first of all, what you're hating. Like, I don't care if that's it. But I care if you don't understand it. I don't, I don't say these things for attention. And right now, I'm saying all of this now to this YouTube video, so people have a better understanding where I come from. Because when people think Otherkin, they think of cringy people being really fucking cringy. It's cringy to me. And I don't like that. I don't like the way how people see it and how it's represented. I don't appreciate that. That's not a good representation of who I am and many other people. There are a lot of other people in the community who are just like me, who don't really want to outwardly show it all the time, and it's uncomfortable to share it with people who aren't in the community, and it's understandably so. Um, so there's definitely that. I'm not doing this for attention. I'm a little nervous when this even gets published. So that's a big part of it. Other people think that I have to be incredibly fucked up to want to believe that I am a dragon specifically. A lot of people would go buying like, okay, maybe you think you're in your past life you were a fox, or maybe you think your soul is a fox now, or whatever. That's a real thing. I guess that could happen, blah, blah, blah. But to do something that's completely out of the realms of science is something completely different. Um, I understand that. I don't understand it completely myself. I'll be the first one to say, hey, look, this is how I feel, 100% and truly, and it hasn't been an easy road coming to this conclusion and dealing with it. I don't understand why I believe that I am this way. And here's something that I think is really important for the community to understand, especially for newer people who are awakening is the term to who they are and all of that. That the day you stop questioning what you are is the day you are not otherkin anymore. Because to be this way, you always have to have a healthy questioning in yourself. For me, I grew up a very scientific individual, and to have this in my life was very hard to swallow. I don't know how to explain it other than that it's a feeling that I can't ignore whatsoever. It never was. It made itself very well known since I was a child, and I tried explaining it away. Maybe this is just pretend or a phase or something. Um, and then I was like, maybe this is just me mentally dealing with shit. I don't know. But the more I denied it, the worse it got. Like, the more the feelings of it being there, and I'm trying to describe it as easy as I can. The more of it pushed itself outwardly on me, and the more I was like, I don't know what this is. I need to find out what this is, even though I knew what it was. I just didn't want to accept that that's what I was feeling. And once I came to the terms of, wow, I am a dragon, I suppose. That feels uncomfortable. It's not like a furry's roleplay wet dream. It's really not, and I don't think it should be viewed that way at all. A furry, for people who don't know, is somebody who appreciates anthropomorphic animal culture I guess, and like to draw cartoony anthro animals and appreciate that art and stuff and make uh fictional character representations of themselves, and those are personas and stuff. Um they don't identify as that. They don't identify as being an animal. Although I have seen surveys where a lot of people don't feel 100% human either. I'm not going to dive into that. To be completely, I'm not really a big furry. I've dipped into it before, but I don't participate in it actively enough to really say anything. So I'm sure there's some furries that could say more. The otherkin and the furry community do overlap, but not all furries are otherkin, and not all otherkin are furries. So I wouldn't go associating either or with each other. Sometimes that's just how that happens. Like a lot of people who like ice cream are like, I really like chocolate ice cream and I also really like vanilla. But not all chocolate people like vanilla, and not all vanilla people like chocolate. So maybe that's a bad analogy, but you know where I'm getting at. Um, for me, I took it very seriously because it's such an important part of who I am and a big part of just my life. And it does, it is me. It is me every day, right now. And sometimes, weirdly, more than others. And it was not like a fun time having to always deal with this. It wasn't always baby's first role play server. And in the beginning, when you're fluffy and you're a fluffy bunny and everything's all shiny and you're like, oh, I'm a beautiful magical creature and cool and shit. And I'm gonna role play the fuck out of this and milk it and characterize and all that cringy shit. It's not gonna be like that for always, and it shouldn't either, because at some point you mature and it's like, this is kind of childish because it's just not how you treat it. Um, I guess I could say I've tried looking at this in very scientific ways, and I have a degree in psychology. I've always had a big fascination with science and mental illness and things like that, and I'm a big mental health advocate. But I don't believe that this falls under psychology, and I'll make a whole video about this later and how I believe that other kinity and things like it shouldn't be associated with anything scientific or psychological. But for me personally, this is very spiritual, and it to classify it more as anything else just makes it worse. I didn't develop this as escapism or anything. That's a lot of people think about that. They also think maybe this is an alternate identity. I don't see it as that at all. That's not. I am me. It is me. It is not an alternate identity to me. Um, it's not escapism. My escapism, I guess, would come from binge watching Netflix, to be completely honest. And this has been around for as early as I can remember. These feelings and this draconic animal thing that's in me, that is me, has been around long before I developed any issues. I won't go too into much of it, but I do have depression. I was clinically diagnosed when I was 16, but the issues that arose from that was from life events that led to more shit. But the dragon thing, I came out as before that happened, before it got worse, and before any of that. And it was around a long time before any of it. So I don't associate it with escapism or any of that. I've had to really struggle with it because it's not scientific. And when people keep asking me, what makes you feel this way? I can't give them a concrete answer. It's how I feel. It's a strong feeling that I just can't ignore. It's something that's stronger than me, that is powerful. And to be without it and to ignore it doesn't feel right. And it just makes it worse. There's a lot of things that go with this identity. But it's not fluffy. It's not something that is wonderful. I remember many a night when I was younger, where I would wish I wasn't even this way and I could be just like everybody else and I didn't have to deal with these feelings and I didn't have to deal with the community and I didn't have to deal with any of this. I don't, when you deal with these things and understanding and knowing that this is weird and abnormal, you don't want to diverge from the crowd. You want to fit in so nothing happens to you. I um I did tell people in my life, and it was only very close people that I trusted. And I know one of the first people I trusted about it was dealing with her own identity issues, but it had nothing to do with draconity. But we both understood each other in that way, that we were both trying to figure each other out and that we didn't give each other any shit for it, which I appreciated. Other people I told, I don't know if I should have. Nothing bad came of it, thank God. When I was in college, I got a little more into opening up about it. I don't regret it, but I was lucky to be on the kind of campus I was. Um, I guess there's still that part of me now that I wish that I could just be more open about it. But from anything that I've learned, especially for any other kid watching this, you don't need everyone to know. You don't need the world to know. This is something that doesn't need to be known. This is yours, and it's personal, and it's very almost sacred to yourself. The people who need to know is maybe one or two people in your life who really love you, who really care about you, who support you, who trust you, and who are just as open-minded and quirky as you are. That's really all you need at the end of the day, is just one person out there to kind of understand or to support you with it. If you're not Otherkin, you won't understand a lot of the things that come with it. I know, and it also depends what kind of Otherkin you are. There are some people who believe that they are one in soul, like me, and also we're one in a past life or past lives. I don't have memories. A lot of those people tend to have memories of being whatever these things, and that goes into more spiritual things as well. I don't have any of that. I don't think that makes me any less credence, gives me any less credence to how I feel. Um, so yeah, I think that's it for today. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I'm not looking for a fight. I just want to make that painfully clear. I'm not looking to fight anybody. I'm just looking to get this off my chest and maybe to change how people view the community a bit, because what is seen out there, especially with that cringy wolf person documentary, it's not me. It's not representative of a lot of people. I'm not a scholar, but I am someone who's had experience and who knows a good deal of what I'm talking about. And that's more than what a lot of people in the community have to say. Not a lot of people are as old as I am. Some people are. And I don't think a lot of people have actually made a decent video about any of it. Maybe just talking or anything. It's not my goal to rouse people's anger. It's not my goal to infuriate anybody. If you want to talk, I am more than happy to have a civil conversation about it. About me, about other things, about my experiences. I want to be open about this. I want to continue. In the other videos, it might be less neutral than this. I plan on talking about different problems in the community. I'll be covering things like how I don't like cringy, fluffy bunnies. And those are the people who just awaken, as it is called, to their identities and first join the communities. I'm going to have a rant video about that one. The next one is going to be about the community itself, at least with Dragonkin. I haven't been to most of the Otherkin communities, but I assume it's similar. So I'll do a rant about that. And then we'll go from there. If anyone has any questions, please leave them. I want to answer things as informationally and appropriately as I can. So yeah. Good night and good luck, guys.